Back once again, all of my low carb friends, and for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. When it comes to a low carb keto diet, one of the hardest things I think it is to find a nice salty snack. And so today I am going to show you how to make very simple keto crackers. The first one is a Ritz style keto butter cracker, and the second one is a Cheez-It style cheesy cracker. And if you want printable versions of these, you can check out my website at janetsdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find printable versions of these and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see lots of easy, delicious keto recipes, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time I put out new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. And if you'd like to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description of the video. You'll see some Amazon affiliate links. Anytime you purchase anything using those Amazon affiliate links, a small portion of your purchase will go to me and will help to support the channel. So, anytime you want to purchase anything on Amazon, make sure you remember me, use my affiliate link, and a small portion of your purchase will go to help support the channel. And while you do all that, let's get cooking. In a large mixing bowl, combine a half cup of coconut flour, 1 tablespoon of xanthan gum, and a half teaspoon of salt. Sift or whisk these all together until they're fully combined and there are no lumps in the dry ingredients. Add 1/4 cup of warm melted butter. Make sure this is warm. It helps it to combine better with the dry ingredients. Use a fork and stir these all together until they're fully combined and there are no dry ingredients. And 1/4 cup of hot water. Make sure this is hot. You're wanting to have a soft dough. And if you just put in room temperature butter and room temperature water, your dough will not be as soft. So you definitely want your butter to be warm and your water to be hot. Use a fork and stir these all together until they're fully combined and there are no dry ingredients. If you need to, you can use your fingers a little bit to make sure that everything is fully combined. Add 1 large room temperature egg. Make sure it is room temperature so you can have a soft dough. Use your fork again and stir in the egg until everything is fully combined and you have a soft, smooth dough. Your dough is going to be wet, but it should not be sticky. Once everything is fully combined and you have a smooth dough, form the dough into a ball and massage it in your hands for 1 minute so that the dough can absorb any excess moisture and that you can make sure that the dough is completely smooth. Again, this dough is going to be wet, but it should not stick to your hands. Just keep massaging it for 1 minute and it will absorb any extra moisture. Once your dough is smooth, form your dough into a smooth cylinder that is about 1 to 1.5 inches in diameter, depending on how big you want your crackers. Mine's probably close to 1.5. I like to have a decent sized cracker. When you are rolling your dough into a cylinder shape, make sure your cylinder shape is smooth and no cracks are in it. If you do see any cracks or indentions in it, just lightly dampen the tips of your fingers and rub them across the crack until it is filled in. You want a very smooth cylinder. Then wrap the cylinder in some plastic wrap and place it in the freezer for at least 2 to 3 hours or until it is almost firm. Now, I like to do this overnight because it gets the best texture if you do it overnight. But if you're in a hurry and you don't want to wait overnight, you can try it at 2 to 3 hours. What you're looking for is for it to be mostly frozen. Once your dough is very firm and almost frozen, if you've frozen it overnight like I usually do, then just let it sit on the countertop for about 15 minutes so it can thaw out just a little bit. You do not want it to be completely thawed. You want it to be mostly frozen, but you don't want it so hard that you can't slice it. Just before you remove your dough from the freezer, preheat your oven to 375 degrees and line 2 large baking sheets with parchment paper. Then set those aside for just a second. Take your dough and unwrap it. Make sure you keep it in that smooth cylinder shape. Then place it in your processor with the slicing blade up and slice the dough into circles that are about 1/16 of an inch thick. If you don't have a processor, just use a very sharp knife and cut circles that are about 1/16 of an inch thick. Then place them onto your prepared baking sheets. Make sure you don't overcrowd them. Make sure there's a little bit of space in between each one of the crackers. These don't spread or puff up or anything like that, but you want to allow even airflow so that they can cook evenly, so make sure they're not crowded. If you want to, you can use a toothpick and poke some holes in your crackers. This just gives them more of a cracker look. You don't have to do that. It's just for looksy's sake if you want to make it look more of a cracker look. That's up to you. Once they're on the baking sheet and shaped the way you want them to be shaped, place them in your preheated oven and bake at 375 degrees for about 10 minutes. Then turn the crackers over and bake for another 5 to 7 minutes or until they are golden around the edges and firm. Remove them from the oven. They're not going to be 100% crispy yet, but they will get crunchy as they cool. So allow them to cool in the pan for about 15 minutes or until they are crispy. Then you can eat them immediately. If you want to, you can put some dry seasonings or cheese powder in a Ziploc bag and place the crackers in there a few at a time and shake them around to give them a little bit of flavor. It's best to put the seasonings on while your crackers are still warm, otherwise the seasonings don't stick really well. After you take them out of the oven the second time, let them cool for about 5 minutes so you don't burn your fingers. Or you can top them with your favorite cracker topping. I like cheese or cream cheese on mine. If you do have any leftovers, store them in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 5 days. In a large mixing bowl, combine a half cup of coconut flour, 1 tablespoon of xanthan gum, a half teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of cheese powder. Sift or whisk these dry ingredients all together until there are no lumps in the dry ingredients. Add 1 cup of hot water. Make sure it is hot. It doesn't have to be boiling. You just want it hot because it helps the dough to combine better and to be more smooth. Stir in the hot water with the dry ingredients until everything is fully combined and there are no dry ingredients left in the bowl. Add 1 large room temperature egg. Make sure it is room temperature so it combines better. Use a fork and stir this all together until everything is fully combined and you have a smooth dough. The dough will be wet but should not be sticky. Form the dough into a ball and massage the dough in your hands for about 1 minute. This helps to make sure that your dough is fully combined and smooth and also helps it to absorb any excess moisture. This is a wet dough, but again, it should not be sticky. It should not be sticking to your hands. Once your dough is nice and smooth and massaged, roll the dough into about a 6-inch log. And if you want to, you can press the dough into a long square if you're wanting to have square crackers. Otherwise, you can just leave it as a log and have circular crackers. It's up to you what shape you want there. Make sure your log or your square, whatever shape you're making it in, make sure it is smooth. If there are any cracks in the log, just lightly dampen your fingers and rub the cracks out. You want it nice and smooth. Wrap the dough in some plastic wrap and place it in the freezer for at least 4 hours or until it is mostly frozen. Again, I do this overnight a lot of times, but you don't have to do it overnight if you want to. You just want to do it at least 4 hours so that the dough can get nice and solid. Once the dough has been frozen, remove it from the freezer and allow it to sit at room temperature for about 15 minutes or just until it has slightly defrosted enough to be able to be sliced. You still want it to be mostly solid, but it needs to be defrosted enough that it can be sliced. While you're waiting for it to soften up, preheat your oven to 375 degrees and line 2 large baking sheets with parchment paper. Once the dough has sat for 15 minutes and is softened up a bit, place the log into your food processor with the slicing side up and process the log into circles or squares, whatever shape you rolled your dough into, that are about a 1/16 of an inch thick. Then place the circles or squares onto your lined baking sheets. And if you've made them in squares, you can put a hole in the center of it. You don't have to. This just gives it more of a Cheez-It type look. If you made it into circles, you can put a few holes in it. Again, you don't have to. It just makes it more of a cracker look when it's got little holes in it. It tastes the same either way, whether it has holes or not, so it's up to you whether you want the holes in there or not. Then place the crackers in your preheated oven and bake at 375 degrees for 10 minutes. Turn the crackers over and bake another 5 to 7 minutes more or until the crackers are golden around the edges. Remove them from the oven. They will not be completely crunchy yet, but they will crunch up as they cool. Allow them to cool on the pan for about 5 minutes. Place 1 to 2 tablespoons of cheese powder in a large Ziploc bag. Then after the crackers have cooled for 5 minutes, place them into the Ziploc bag and turn the bag several times until all the crackers are coated. Once they're coated, place them on a serving platter and eat them immediately if you want to, or you can store them in an airtight container at room temperature for about 5 days. Eat and enjoy. And those are our recipes of the day. I hope you enjoyed them. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.